We had stopped our discussion at quality of services, and we discussed many issues over there like traffic shaping, traffic policing, and we also discussed with admission control. We understood with how the router processes the packets, etc. Again, these are the two important services which are typically called as quality of service mechanisms, right? They are named as integrated and differentiated services. They operate in a different manner in order to provide a better quality of services to the end user. The generic name for such services is called as a flow-based mechanism. Hope you remember the term flow, right? And these services were aimed at both unicast as well as for multicast applications. Example of unicast is a single user streaming a video clip from a news site and he wants pretty good quality of services. Example of multicast is collection of digital television stations broadcasting their programs as stream of IP packets to many receivers at various locations. Right? The higher you pay, the better quality of service you receive. Now, the first service, that is integrated service, this approach involves reservation of bandwidth on a network from one end to the end between communicating devices before the communication begins. That is, you establish a path from source to destination and go on reserving the resources from your end to the destination. We use a different protocol in order to reserve the resources, which is called as resource reservation protocol. This protocol has nothing to do with your routing. It simply reserves the resources across the path. The resources could be your CPU cycles of the router, or it could be the bandwidth that is required between the path from the source to destination. When completed, the network resources are relinquished to be used by other applications and the services. Okay. Just a small discussion on RSVP. This protocol is used for making the reservation, as the name itself tells, and other protocols are used for sending the data. RSVP is basically used for making reservations only. This you have to keep it in your mind. The protocol uses multicast routing using spanning trees. We had discussed about this in our previous video, how the spanning trees, multicast spanning trees are constructed. Each group is assigned a group address, and to send to a group, a sender puts a group address into its packet. Standard multicast routing then builds a multicast spanning tree which covers all the members of the group. Okay, the routing is not a part of your RSVP. RSVP is purely used for reserving the resources. Let us take an example. Consider a network. Here host 1 and 2, that is the topmost two nodes, are multicast senders, and you have 3, 4, 5 are multicast receivers. Let us assume the senders are something like a servers, and 3, 4, 5 are clients which want to access some video or some audio from these two servers. The senders and receivers are disjoint, but in general the two sets may overlap because we make use of a shared network. Right? The multicast trees for host 1 and host 2 are shown below. For example, 3, 4, 5, they might be interested in some channel that is broadcasted by server 1, and some of them might be interested in server 2 for listening to some other TV shows or something like that. Right? So any of these receivers, so observe this diagram pretty carefully over here. So any of the receivers in a group can send a reservation message up the tree to the sender. Right? The message gets propagated using reverse path forwarding algorithm, and at each hop, the router starts reserving the necessary resources, specifically the bandwidth. If at all the sufficient bandwidth is not available, or it so happens that the resources are overrun, it reports back the receivers the failure. By the time the message gets back to the source, the bandwidth is completely reserved all the way from the sender to the receiver making the reservation request along the spanning tree. Okay, that is your RSVP basically goes on reserving the resources. Now here host 3 has requested a channel to host 1. Okay, so if you just look at RSVP runs across and it reserves one channel to your source 1. If host 3 reserves next reserves a channel to other sender, that is host 2, again it goes across the path and the reservation is made. You can see in figure B the bandwidth reserved for source 2. Okay, that means your receiver 3 is basically interested in two television programs which he wants to watch at once. Okay, now in the meantime host 5 also decides to watch a program being transmitted by 1. He also tries to make a reservation, but however the reservation is done up till H, and now however since the path is already established it gets shared, right? So first a dedicated bandwidth is reserved as far as router H. Later since your router H sees that it is requesting of same feed, so if the necessary bandwidth is already been reserved, it does not has to reserve anymore. So host 3 and host 5, now it so happens that your host 3 might be viewing lower quality of video and host 5 might request for a high definition video, that is your HD video. In that case the bandwidth requirement is more. Understanding? Different amount of bandwidth. In that case the capacity reserved must be large enough to satisfy the greediest receiver. For example, if 5 requests for 2 Mbps channel and if 3 is requesting for 1 Mbps channel, the actual resources reserved across the path will be 2 Mbps, right? Let us take one simple example over here to understand more about it. So for a given topology, if R3 requests a bandwidth of 2 Mbps from S1, R3 requests bandwidth of 1 Mbps from S2, R4 requests 2 Mbps from S2, R5 requests bandwidth of 1 Mbps from S2. Determine the bandwidth required to be reserved at the routers A, B, C, E, H, J, K and L. Right, you can just pause the video for a moment and determine the bandwidth that are reserved across the routers. You have to remember one thing in this case, you have to satisfy the greediest requester. Okay, so if 3 is requesting for 2 Mbps and if 4 is requesting if 5 is requesting for 1 Mbps, then actually 2 Mbps gets reserved across, right? So this is the solution. You can have a look at it and get back to me, right? Okay. Now there are disadvantages of this integrated services. The first one, all the routers within the network must be configured to support and respond to RSVP. If one of them fail, then the reservation will completely, it will not happen at all. It will completely fail, right? Second one, there might be potentially 100 or even thousands of requests for the router to create and maintain, tear down the reservations on demand, which can burn out their routers' CPU cycles. Now, one more thing is, since you reserve the bandwidth from end to end, it might lead to extreme condition. Okay, it is something like no other services can make use of that bandwidth during that time. To overcome these disadvantages, differentiated services was used. So it is a quality of service approach involving packet prioritization. Instead of reserving the bandwidth across, what you do is you apply the priority to the packets. Okay. Now individual packets are marked according to the type of priority they require. For example, video packets require a different priority, your textual packet requires a different priority, your image packets require a different priority, etc. The routers and the switches use various queuing strategies to conform to these requirements. In fact, these routers maintain a different queue, okay, in order to in order to forward these packets. This approach is called as class-based quality of services. Instead of having flow-based services, you segregate the packets in terms of various classes. This is just an example that is given. You have different types of packets that come to a particular router. You have e-commerce packets, you have application traffic packets, you have email, voice, etc. Now these packets can be classified into platinum class low latency packets, or guaranteed packets, guaranteed delivery packets, best effort delivery for the ones which do not require much of the quality of services. Okay, so differentiated services can be offered by the set of routers forming an administrative domain. So you have set of routers which determine the priority of the packets. Okay, the administration is nothing but your ISP. He defines the set of service classes with corresponding forwarding rules. Now if a customer signs up for differentiated services, his packets entering the domain, they carry a field name called as type of service. Okay, and they are subjected to better services when compared to your other packets, right? So if you'll be seeing it when we look with the IP header, you will see there is a field called as type of service. If you have a value in that type of service, then those packets will be treated separately by giving a higher priority. Okay, it is something like going to a temple and you ask for a special darshan. Yes, you'll be put into a queue, a separate queue, which moves pretty fast when compared to the other, normal queue. Okay, so this scheme requires no advanced setup. This is the main advantage of differentiated services. You need not have to have to run this RSVP in advance. So no reservations are made, no time consuming end-to-end negotiation for each of the flows, as in case of your integrated services. So this in fact makes differentiated services easy to implement. Now how are the packets forwarded? There are two ways. One is expedited forwarding and one more is assured forwarding. We'll look with each one of them. In case of expedited forwarding, only a limited fraction of packets are expedited. It should be these packets are passed through the network as if there were no other packets in the network. It is something like giving a sufficient amount of space for an ambulance to pass through, even though there is heavy traffic jam across the roads. Right? It is something like that. So your packet moves as though it does not have knowledge about other packets in the network. So in this way, they will get very low loss, low delay, and low jitter services, which is predominantly required for your voice over IP applications. Okay, and the packets are classified as expedited or regular, and they are marked accordingly. So how do you differentiate an ambulance with other vehicles? It is by its siren or by its model or the noise it makes, something like that. Same thing here also, the packets gets classified as expedited and regular based upon the markings they have. And this step is done at the sending host, or what we call it as an ingress router. Obviously, you have to pay more in order to have this expedited data across the network. If the marking is done by the host, this ingress router is nothing but the border router. Okay, is likely to police the traffic to make sure that the customers are not sending more expedited traffic than they have been paid for. So within the network, the routers may have two output queues, one each for outgoing line and for the expedited packets, and one for regular. So when the packet arrives, it is queued accordingly. Right? So you basically have two different queues. Right? So the expedited queue is given higher priority over the regular one. For example, using various scheduling algorithms. In this way, the expedited packet sees an unloaded network, even though your network is heavily loaded.